we're here with Fun Football Podcast. I am Isaac. I'm joined by Rev Trev. How you doing, man?
Doing well. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, and Jason, got a couple Packers fans. We might have another one coming on. Unfortunately, I kind of promoted it. My co-host had a family emergency from Blitz, so he won't be here. But we might have another Packers fan join us. But we're gonna get rolling. Hopefully, he comes on. And I want to talk a lot of Packers, but we've got to start with the big news of the week. And I'll go last on this one for sure. But Jason, you were just telling me some awesome stuff, and then we'll go to Rev Trev. What did you think of the Stephon Diggs trade that went down this week? Because I was shocked.
Yeah, that was a pretty shocking trade. Like I told you, I heard just actually today that his contract was a little over 90 million, and the Texans voided the last 3 years of his contract, and he's only actually really going to be there 1 year, and then he's a free agent. Unless if they want him back, they're going to have to franchise tag him.
Which makes that trade even more intriguing. And I also read, I can't remember if it was on Ringer or ESPN or where I read it, but he's going to carry a dead cap charge. So the Bills not only offloaded him for a fifth and a sixth to get a second, which to me, just the price it's fishy, but they're going to carry a $31 million dead cap hit, the biggest for a receiver in NFL history. Wow. Rev Trev, what do you make of that, man?
Yeah, I mean, it was surprising. We had heard rumors last year about it, so there was a little bit. And then what bothers me about when anyone gets traded, seems nowadays, all we want to do is bash their character and say this was a terrible teammate, and he's toxic and all these things. And I just don't buy it anymore. I don't think, and even if he was, let's just say he was a prima donna, okay? Most wide receivers are prima donnas. This just in. It's been like that since like the 90s. So they have to have confidence. What the heck is wrong with people? It's like, wow, we're going to say this? Yeah, I'm shocked. Wow, he had confidence oozing out of him. He's one of the best wide receivers. How's that for a rant for you today, guys?
I love it. I mean, I was talking about this on this show really quick. Let's keep it clean. I've got students that are watching. One's right here. Hey, Shay, I'm a teacher. That's one of my kids. And Mac and Cheese says I'm not a zombie because I'm supposed to go on their show after. And it has been a week. I had 5 meetings in a 4-day week. I got Monday off, so it was only 4 days. But and Jason, I won't say how many, but thank you to the people watching. I appreciate it. If you guys want to add your streams now, I'll carry for a second here. It reminds me, okay, so imagine this scenario. I'm going to go NBA, and I've got an NFL one for you. Imagine if social media existed when Michael Jordan was famous. We wouldn't look at him the same way. The Last Dance was a decent, little scope into that, but the guy was a jerk, but he was the best. If we could see Michael Irvin or I don't know how Sterling Sharp, his career was short. I was really young. I'm in my mid-30s. I just barely remember how awesome he was. But if we could have seen Michael Irvin, I don't know how Jerry Rice, he seemed to carry himself well, but guarantee you the guy had a lot of confidence. I don't think we'd look at them the same way. Terrell Owens, I mean, he actually, especially towards the end, did blow up a couple situations, but he still had immense talent. Every time one of these guys gets traded, it's you nailed it, man. I honestly don't understand what the Bills are doing because to me, they just took the only target they had, got rid of him, got rid of their number 2, lost a bunch on defense, and still have a franchise quarterback. I don't know what they're doing. I don't understand it. They were going run heavy, but there's no way they're going to be able to contend with Cincinnati, with KC, with Houston at this point, who they just upgraded, with Baltimore. They're a step below now, significantly. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, in theory.
They may draft.
Well, I'm just saying that the Packers had no wide receivers apparently either. We were in trouble. Who's Love going to throw to? You just got to start asking questions like that, and then there's the draft that hasn't even happened yet. They've got to be drafting a wide receiver. Now I know that they can't all be like Green Bay and hit and have success on rookie and sophomore wide receivers, but somehow maybe we're the example that everyone's trying to run after now, which is great. I mean, good. It's a copycat league, so. But it's the same thing for the Chargers, right? Who are they going to throw to?
Exactly. Right? Well, and Ben Johnson was such a bust for them last year, and Palmer. So they're gonna. It's going to be interesting for them. Luckily, they've got a really high pick. Buffalo is going to have to move up. Green Bay. It's crazy how everything happened with Green Bay, where they let go of Javonte, had very little. They went out and drafted Watson. They had very little at receiver, and then nailed on all those picks in Love's first year. That was awesome that managed to happen, because it's rare that you have your quarterback and you land on a few receiving and at tight end too. Not only did we land at receiver, Musgrave and Kraft both look really good to me. Like, I feel like we're set for the first time at that position in a while, because when Rodgers was still with us, we were questioning the second receiver, and now we've got 3 or 4, possibly 5 guys that look legitimate.
Mm-hmm.
I actually really liked Bo Melton, and he's probably going to walk into the year as our 5th receiver.
Yeah. I mean, that's how much talent we have there. So the thing is, though, you got to remember they let Gabe Davis walk too, right? So you got both of these guys walking. I mean, okay. So you and I, all 3 of us, we're confused what's going on. But these guys are in there. These guys they have a plan. Right? They don't get their jobs by not having a plan. So is it that they think that wide receiver is easy to replace? I that might be a true statement. Like, maybe they're saying, hey, we've got Josh Allen. He makes players good. It's like Brett Favre would just chuck to whoever was on the field. Like, he just made people good. Javon Walker, like, who was that before he came to Green Bay? And then next thing you know, and then he goes somewhere else and he's terrible. Right.
And he was special for a minute there too. He was.
So can we just, like, maybe that's the plan? Like, I do not understand what the Chargers and the Bills are doing, but I feel like I'm in the dark from their plan. So I gotta wait to see, but it does feel weird.
It also is strange to me, guys. I want to know both you guys' take on this. The only team that's been able to successfully trade a receiver away, and Green Bay had that rough year where Lazard was our 1, and then we had to go in the draft and replace.
True.
But other than, I guess if you count us now, because we're looking on the up, it hasn't worked out for anybody else other than the Chiefs. I don't know how they traded Tyreek Hill away. The only reason they were able to get away with it was excellent coaching, a great defense, and the best quarterback in the league. That was the only reason why. And they still had Kelsey. So they still had to go draft Rashee Rice, but they somehow traded Tyreek Hill and won back-to-back Super Bowls. The Titans are having buyer's remorse. That's why they overpaid Ridley, because they've been missing A.J. Brown.
It's true.
And I don't think receivers as easy to replace as we all think. There are only so many number ones in this league that are legitimately number ones. And honestly, in the NFL right now, the way it's this pass happy, you need 2 or 3 targets between receiver and tight end to be successful, or you better have, like what the Chiefs did, a stellar D, a good running game, a tight end, and still Mahomes. So I'm with you, Rev Trev. I'm in the dark here, because I just don't think this is going to help the Bills contend. I think maybe they were thinking, we're not winning it with this guy that's frustrating us anyways, so we'll flip him. But the Chargers, the problem with them was they had to cut 2 guys. I totally thought they were going to let Khalil Mack or Bosa go, though. I was shocked it was both receivers, because they had to get rid of 2 of those guys, but that was crazy. Jason, I'm flabbergasted too. The Reddick trade also, we're going to get to that in a second. That one was shocking. But were you guys surprised? I wasn't super shocked that Diggs got traded like you alluded to, but what'd you all think of the location? The Texans. Jason, what'd you think of that?
That's actually a surprise location.
Right.
But it also made the Texans offense potent. You know, they already have those 2 young receivers. You know, they have Schultz. You know, they picked up Mixon. Uh, it's going to be explosive offense. I mean, as long as they can match that defense with that offense, I mean, they're going to be pretty tough to beat.
And I like what they did because it was so forward thinking. They went out and got Daniel Hunter to pair with Will Anderson, and they got that linebacker. They were like, let's get this while Stroud and Anderson are on rookie deals. Rev Trev, what'd you think?
Yeah, that was the surprising part, was the landing spot too, right? It's like I can understand that Buffalo was thinking about moving them, but to the Texans, like, are you kidding me right now? And all of a sudden now this, like, they have a formidable, stacked wide receiver core. I mean, I was on the show with Matt Ramage and Dakota, and Dakota kept saying, "Dude, Tank Dell is amazing."
Oh,
He's like, if you're in fantasy and you haven't picked him up yet, he's like, I've drafted him. And I'm like, I don't know. So I picked him up in a bunch of leagues, and I'm like, wow. And then I'm like watching him, and I'm like, how did I not know this guy was on the radar? Like, and then Nico Collins alone, like, he is a big body. It's dangerous what we got there. And then, you know, we haven't even talked about Mixon yet. Like, how you landed Mixon? This team looks unbelievably good. Now, I mean, you got to put it all together. But if that had happened to us, for example, I mean, people will be planning the parade. So I can understand why Texans fans are really excited, right? Really excited about what's going on there.
The only thing that I would have loved this offseason, and they could still do it in the draft. I love all of our receivers. I think, like, spreading out is great. But we were a team, I was like, if they got aggressive and went out after T. Higgins, I wouldn't be upset, because I think he'd only add to our receiving core and take the pressure off of these young guys. But they were all starting to excel. So I didn't see it as a position need. But like you said, if we went out and got Diggs, if he's not the cancer that everybody says he is, and would act and be just put his head down and work hard, and you know he's going to produce, even he'll be 31. He still was a Pro Bowler last year. Like, the guy can still ball. I don't want to, like, I've heard people say he's washed. I'm like, they went run heavy after they fired their offensive coordinator to take the pressure off Allen, because he, as great as he is, he does turn the ball over. So they were like, okay, let's take the pressure off him. Diggs still made the Pro Bowl. They still were in the divisional round and almost bounced KC. It was yeah, I don't know. It was Houston looks to me. So if you guys are game, I want to talk Reddick. We'll do it in a minute, but I wanted to play a little game, and there's only 3 of us instead of 5, so it'll be quicker. We can do 3 to 5 teams. Below KC, who is your number 1 threat to them right now in the AFC pre-draft? And there could be a couple more fireworks, we don't know. But as it stands right now, who do you guys think is the biggest challenger in the AFC? Rev Trev, you want to start?
I'd say the Bengals, because I think Joe Burrow is a stone cold killer. The guy's a winner. He is unbelievable. Now he's coming off an injury, so that's the biggest question mark. But I think he's phenomenal. And so I'm not counting them out ever. As long as he's a quarterback there, they have a chance. I mean, I know what you're getting at. Like, it's hard to pick someone at this stage. I know in your video you said you don't want to elevate Pittsburgh, but I'm telling you, I'm calling them the Steelers because they stole Justin Fields. And my prediction is that it's not going to be Russell Wilson. That's going to be the starting quarterback there. And if it is, it's for a very short time. But I think Justin Fields is going to be a starting quarterback there. They were already a playoff team. They added, like, they had garbage for quarterback play last season. Garbage. And they made the playoffs. So I think that the Steelers, as long as Watt can stay healthy, and that defense, I mean, they got the coaching, they got the run game, they got the defense, and now you added a quarterback to help there. I mean, you lost Johnson, but come on. I think those are teams. I mean, no one thought Texans were going to be good last year.
Yeah, there's always a team.
So those are the 2 teams that I'm watching closely, and I wouldn't be surprised if Pittsburgh takes the next step. Even if it's Russell Wilson and he plays better than Justin Fields, at the end of the day, he's won a Super Bowl. At the end of the day, he's put up some monster numbers. If he's washed, you have a backup plan that's very good. So
I liked your answer on Bengals. They were my one, and then Houston, and then I'm going to watch Pittsburgh. The draft could influence my decision because, like, let's say they go get a Brian Thomas Jr. or they move up, or an Dunze falls, and they land that receiver threat. I love Vlad McConkey. What if they got him? There's a lot of guys. They got to – it wasn't just quarterback. They've got to get a receiver. But they could be a team. You can never count Mike Tomlin out if they can show up that offense. Jason, who's the biggest threat to KC right now in the AFC?
I'm going to say the Ravens. As long as, Lamar can, win a playoff game and, get them to advance, I do think that the Baltimore Ravens are a pretty tough team. Even though they lost, Patrick Quinn to the Steelers, you add somebody, by a trade or, in the draft, to fill that spot. I mean, and then also, I'm gonna, take on Rev Trevs with the Bengals. Joe Burrow is, he did get them to the Super Bowl. And so just add another piece to that offense and defense, and I just think that team is going to be a team to be reckoned with.
Also, Joe Burrow's the only guy that's beaten Mahomes in the playoffs. He's not afraid. And that's what makes him special if he can stay healthy. Now, they did lose Joe Mixon, like you guys said, but if they can replace him in the draft, it's not a great running back draft, but it's a deep one. And there's some guys I like because I actually think the Packers should go get one running back. We'll hit that later. But if they can replace him at running back, they've still got players on defense. I know they haven't won a Super Bowl yet, but Burrow had his number before last year in the playoffs, especially. So I kind of lean there. Though my only question mark with Baltimore and Buffalo is those two guys haven't been able to do it. And it's not like it's just a head-to-head thing. But Baltimore also lost Geno Stone, and that's a big loss. Getting Derrick Henry was special. I'm curious what they'll do at receiver. If Henry has anything left, it could make up for those losses on defense. But I'm going Cincy and then Houston, and then I've got Baltimore and those AFC North teams. That's where I'm at because I actually think I think there's a good chance the AFC North could have 4 teams make the playoffs this year. With 7 teams making it, I could see that division having 4 teams possibly. We'll see how the AFC East shakes out, but it's going to be interesting.
I'm not counting out Buffalo either. I think everyone's written them off because Diggs is gone. It's like, well, you had them in there, and then all of a sudden, like Gabe Davis gone, and it's like, okay, no big deal, they'll be fine. All of a sudden, Diggs is gone, and you're like, now they're done? And it's like, well, they have 2 really good tight ends. They still have a run game. I mean, Josh Allen is still Josh Allen. I mean, you got Tyreek Hill that left, as you had mentioned, and all of a sudden they kept going. And it's like, you said they had a run game and a defense, and they still had a great quarterback. Well, that's exactly what Buffalo has. And they have now the thing that's different is Kansas City has considerably the GOAT for the tight end position. So if Kincaid can put up good numbers, then you're looking almost at the exact same team formula-wise as Kansas City. Now, all the Kansas City fans are coming in here. They're going to be yelling at me. I get it. I mean, that one guy that was trying to troll you on TikTok, and I kept bugging him because he can't use the proper grammar. That was the best. But I get that people like. I'm not writing off Buffalo yet. I'm not writing them off. But
well, here's the thing. I think that they could still be a threat, but they lost a lot on defense, and I think it's going to come out into the draft because they lost a lot on defense. Rev Trev, that's not. It's real. It's not like I'm not saying I don't with Josh Allen and James Cook and decent play at tight end and just decent play on defense. I think they might not be as inconsistent as last year if they ride that run game, and if they can shore up the D, they'll have a winning record for sure. I just haven't seen they weren't able to get over the hump before. I think that what might be smart here is changing strategy and realizing that roster wasn't going to do it. So I think they're going to take a different approach, and getting a few weapons at receiver might actually be beneficial for them in the long run. Let's say they go draft 2 guys at receiver. They actually might be better off. It's a lot of it's for me is going to come down to Josh Allen. Like there was a play in that KC game. There's a few that really stood out to me. Chris Jones made a play when he was about to hit a guy for a touchdown. I can't remember what it was. I don't know if it was Diggs or Gabe Davis. I think it was Davis. And he hit him like right as he was launching the ball and he missed. And it wasn't Josh Allen's fault. But there was a few plays later on that game where he had a choice on trying to make a home run play or there was a few where he had a guy wide open right over the middle in the fourth quarter and he missed it. And I want to see if he has that maturity to grow from that, because it's extremely hard to win a Super Bowl in the NFL. And right now you've got a Mahomes with an Andy Reid and Spagnuolo. It's almost unfair. That's why they repeated for the first time in 20 years. So I want to see, because I think the guy's got the talent. I want to see, I'm not sure if it's the coaching. I want to see if he can take that next step in the playoffs, because there's little things I'm watching. And it's like, yeah, I think they're going to be a playoff team. I just want to see if he can do that, because I watched Joe Burrow and I don't have any questions other than injury. There's no questions from him.
Mm-hmm.
I have 0 questions about him. So that's where I'm at. Long story there, but any more thoughts on that? You guys ready to talk some other stuff?
I'm with you. I think the Texans are like, they were a young team that was there, and I think they just took a couple steps to even get better. I think it's very reasonable to start saying, hey, you guys, everyone's going to start looking out for this team.
Kind of like us, actually, a little bit.
Yeah, like, exactly. And that's the thing. It's like, are we building on what we had? And like, there are times where you regress, and I understand that, but when you have the right quarterback, it's a lot better to be good, a lot easier to be good. I mean, so I don't know. I think as Packer fans, I think Jason, you and I have kind of talked about this a bit, was, everyone's kind of like, the dream Super Bowl will be Texans Packers, right?
Right.
The young quarterbacks, everything about it would be phenomenal on our end. And there's a lot of talk about that now.
It's funny because NFL Updated, I saw you on his show and he came on mine for a mock draft last weekend and he was ragging on me. And I saw what you said to him, because he talks about how inconsistent Love was. And I was like, sure, in his first year as a starter. And it wasn't just correlated with Aaron Jones getting healthy. The dude started putting together games over the last 9-10 games of the season. And like you said, I'm taking your point. I watched you on there. He had a better season than any Bears quarterback has ever had. No Bears quarterback has thrown 32 TDs in a season ever. It's never happened. Jay Cutler never did it. And that's probably statistically their best quarterback in their franchise history is Jay Cutler. So, I want to see Caleb Williams actually do it, because I question if the Bears have the systems in place for a franchise QB, because they never have. I think they have an ownership problem that's flying under the radar. Like the Cowboys one is wide in the open. I think the Bears have an ownership problem. And I question if any guy would be able to go there and succeed. Now, they've made some great moves recently, and Poles has set them up, it looks like, for success, but I still got to see it to believe it.
Right.
That's where I'm at with it. I was going to save that for Med. I'll tell him to when he's ready to tune in. But
yeah, it's the problem in Chicago is that they kept their coach.
Yeah.
So for us, so for us, we were like, okay, we're going to see how this Joe Barry thing works. And then it got real bad. And we're all, us fans, were like, you got to move on. And then all of a sudden he turned it around the last number of weeks of going into Dallas, playing them. They're like, well, maybe. It's like, no. You can't forget what happened there. The reason why we're in there fighting and to win the last 3 weeks is because Joe Barry was so terrible in that middle stretch there. And then wasn't Matt LaFleur when he took over? The thing is like at the end of the day, we were like, no, we can't keep him. So then they let him go. And then with Eberflus, he had a switch and they turned around and they're like, maybe they should keep him. I'm like, are you guys crazy right now? because this might be the dumbest organization ever. Because at least when we saw our issues, we moved away. And it's just, like think about it, right? If we had kept Joe Barry, wouldn't you be mad? I would be mad.
Oh, I think
yeah.
And that's what we did.
I was seeing this on Frozen Tundra because Jason was asking me about Frozen Tundra today, and I thought Joe Barry was one of the worst defensive coordinators in the league, but I also saw a talent deficiency in our defense at certain positions, and we already addressed one of them, and I loved it. Getting McKinney, I was going to save this, but getting McKinney, man, I can't believe he wasn't a Pro Bowler last year. The guy's a stud,
He's a
man.
ball hawk.
He's awesome, and that's exactly what Halfley said he wants. Whether he works out or not, he's looking for playmakers at safety. So I already think we're going to have I think just not having someone, it was like watching a bad Madden game and and the guy's just going prevent all the time. And you're like, what? No, press, blitz, something. And 80% of the time he's not doing anything. So you can run up the middle or have easy pitch and catch on the outside for short gain. Our pass defense was okay, but people ran exclusively on us. It was really tough to watch because except for down the stretch, I felt like LaFleur stepped on Barry's toes towards the end and was like, dude, stop. Because it seemed like the scheme switched the last 5-6 weeks.
Totally.
Like I watched it. They weren't playing the same way.
No.
At all. They weren't.
Because Joe Barry's his buddy, right?
Exactly. He likes
and
friends.
At the end of the day, I have no problem that he was loyal to Joe. Like, that's great. And I actually commend him for that. Because, like, I believe in Joe. I want him to succeed. But there was a chance there, and it's like, hey, man, my job's on the line now, too. So we're not fooling around, and we got to make the playoffs here. We've got a team that can do it. And I really was impressed. Like, that's why LaFleur is just so awesome in so many ways. He's loyal, but he's, like, not at the detriment to his team. Where that's why I'm like, Chicago has the right management. They have the wrong coach in. So then at the end of the day, that's the wrong management if you're going to keep him. But if Eberflus turns out to have improved somehow, then maybe they are a little bit more dangerous than we thought. And they're trying to blame everyone else. But I think, well, who was it? Nagy? No, it wasn't Nagy. Who was the guy they let go this year? Anyways, he was terrible. So whoever they let go was awful. I just thought both of them should have been gone, and they didn't do that. So,
well, honestly, if LaFleur hadn't let go of Barry, I think we'd all be pretty ticked off with LaFleur right now too. Because I was like, I think he's the right coach, but if he can't hold guys accountable, which we saw him do, and that's not all on the coach, but that's kind of his job. At the end of the day, I think it's, between him and the GM, but it's down to the coach to decide, that stuff. If he had kept Barry, I would have been like, now it would just start, like you just alluded to, I would have been questioning LaFleur. So I was going to say the Packers stuff, but you know what? We'll hit that other trade later. Jason, we talked this off camera last night, and I want to know your thoughts. I think you told me a lot of it. What was we'll talk the Aaron Jones thing. What was your favorite move of the offseason? And you know what? If you want to add it in, for the Packers, what was your favorite move and what was the thing that scares you a little bit still moving forward?
My favorite move was picking up Xavier McKinney. I mean, it is tied with Josh Jacobs. I think adding Josh Jacobs was huge. I mean, I love Aaron Jones. He did awesome for this organization. He's a humble man, and Minnesota's getting a awesome guy. And I just think, with Josh Jacobs, you have Jones and AJ Dillon wrapped into one guy. He's a cowbell, and he's ready to run over the NFC North. And with an offensive line, actually, not like with the Raiders with no offensive line, Xavier McKinney, as you guys were already touching on, he's a ball hawk, and you get another safety there that's going to be another ball hawk. Have fun trying to pass the ball.
That's what I'm hoping to land soon.
So, I mean, Xavier McKinney was a huge key to the defense and what Halfley wanted. I do believe that LaFleur is letting Halfley build this defense, because last year, towards the end of the year, Matt LaFleur had to go into those meetings. And that's why that defense was turning around, because he was, guiding Joe Barry how to do his own job. So I mean, and what we need going forward, I think, we do need to touch and get a linebacker, whether it's by draft or by a trade. Um, that's one of our biggest needs. I mean, are you going to have uh, Quay as the guy that's going to be on the mic, or you're going to have the guy that you trade for be on the mic, or the rookie that you draft? Um, I mean, so that's one of the biggest keys that I think the Packers need is a linebacker, and I mean, you got to stuff to run, right?
I'm with you, and I think that, yeah. You know what? I'm going to go last. Ref Trev, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with everything that Jason has said. I just think that, what we were talking about Joe Barry gone and replacing him, I think we already got better defensively by bringing in a new defensive coordinator. So bringing in McKinney is just awesome for that. I just think if this team has a better defense, man, we're going to be good. Like, we're going to be good. We're going to be really good. Now, the Josh Jacobs part, I agree with you. He's a bell cow. What I get nervous about, so I do still get nervous about his health, but I feel like it's the exact same situation as Aaron Jones. And that's the thing that I'm like, it felt like it's the same that way. Like the risk is the same. It's just that we got someone who is 3 years younger, but the only thing is that he doesn't do is he doesn't score receiving touchdowns. And then I was thinking about him, like, do we need him to? Like, just pass the ball to Wicks or Musgrave or Jaden Reed or, Dobbs or, like the list keeps going on and on. Oh, hey, by the way, we got this guy named Christian Watson. Might want to throw him the ball in the end zone too. So that's the only thing is, like, he has never scored a rushing touchdown or a receiving touchdown in his career, I believe. And I'm like, that was surprising to me, or it's very few. Like, if you look at the stats, basically they're very similar to Aaron Jones, except for the Aaron Jones scores receiving touchdowns. So I feel like it's a bit of a wash, but man,
no, you're right. He's never had one, and he has almost 1,500 yards receiving without a. Wow, I hadn't seen that. I heard the passing. Right, interrupt, man. You were on that. Sorry, go ahead. You're right. No receiving touchdowns ever. Wow.
Not with the Raiders, not in the NFL, he hasn't, but in college he did, and so he did in high school too. So I think that he's going to be okay here in Green Bay. He's going to get one of my predictions is I had told a buddy of mine that, and also on other social media platforms, I predicted that he will bring the rushing title back home this year to Green Bay, because Green Bay never had a rushing title rusher. So I think he's going to be the first one, and my prediction is that he's going to have 2,000 yards with 15 touchdowns.
Wait, we've never had the rushing title? We've
Nope.
never had that?
Nope.
With all of our good runners that we've had Amon Green, we've had Dorsey Levens, we've had Aaron Jones, we've never had a dude, the guys in the 60s, we've never had a rushing title? I can't believe I haven't seen that stat, man.
You didn't bring on Jason and I just because we're pretty.
No,
we got some stats here, brother. We got things that we're not just a pretty
I've been a
face.
Packer fan my whole life. I never heard that. I think I did a long time ago. I forgot about that. That's crazy. I could see it. My only question with Josh Jacobs is he's been a little bit like this, a little up and down when you look at his stats. And I think you can attribute a lot of that to the lack of a passing game with the Raiders for the most part, lack of an offensive line. They haven't lacked for receiving targets. The receiving core is really good, but their quarterback situation was not that good last year. So I think that's going to open things up a lot for him. Like both of you all said, you guys made great points. We've got receiving weapons galore, and I love our offensive line. Even if we end up replacing Myers, I think there are guards to be had at right guard. I actually liked Walker last year. I don't want to draft a tackle in the first round. We're going to get to that in a minute. But I want to give Walker a little more time, just like Valentine, both of our 7th round picks. Both those guys holding up last year was one of the reasons in the second half our team was so successful because Valentine got more run, Walker got more established and was pretty consistent at left tackle for us with Bakhtiari being out again. I like our offensive line. I think Jacobs could have – he's kind of my question mark because I was sad to lose Aaron Jones. I was hoping we'd have the tandem because I thought they'd complement each other really well. I throw this out there.
Oh, man.
It might be discounted, but I think in a year there's a possibility. Jones, he only signed a 1-year deal. Maybe we bring him back on a cheap deal. And maybe he'll still have something left in the tank in a complimentary role. I still think we're going to draft a running back this year because I don't think Dylan's got much left. If you look at him, it's just been downward trajectory every year. But hopefully I'm wrong, and maybe he'll regain some form that he had his first couple of years. But he's pulled like a Zeke Elliott recently. He's been going like this. So I'm hoping that that's not the case. But on the cheap, getting him in a backup role, how much rev trip was it? Like 1.3 mil?
Yeah.
It was a rare contract clause that we got him for. So
yeah, he's not even guaranteed to make the roster.
No, he's not. If we draft 2 running backs,
I mean, I do think they're going to draft. I think they're going to draft running back between at least the 3rd and 4th round.
I think so.
You
too.
know,
I think so too. That was something me and Trevor were talking about. I'm going to be curious. I don't know about the second for them with running back. It just depends on who's there. There's a few guys I like, so we'll talk.
Yeah, I don't know if we're gonna do that, guys. Like, that's
you think
where,
it might be later?
I kind of okay. So think about it. We have Josh Jacobs, and then we have AJ Dillon and Emmanuel Wilson.
right?
So where's this guy gonna fit? Because they believe in Wilson, and so I'm with you. Like, I don't mind if we get someone, but I don't know like how many carries he's gonna get. You know, like that's where I'm like, why would we spend a 3rd round pick on someone like that when, I mean, unless the plan is going forward that you want him to be the number 2.
I think that's it. I don't think they believe that heavily in Dylan to not even offer him a deal. It was just a contract clause for 1 year on a super cheap deal. I don't think that's a huge vote of confidence. And if Jason's right and then we don't have him on the, like if he doesn't actually make the roster, if they drafted a dude, let's say 91, that 2nd, 3rd round pick, or in the 4th, or if it was somebody awesome in the 5th, maybe, but probably 3rd or 4th, I could see them thinking he's in their mind. If they do that, only if they do that, I think they'd be thinking he'd be the number 2.
Okay.
Right.
I don't know. Like it just depends on how much they believe in Dylan. But last year he really let me down when Jones was out. He didn't look. He looked like he lost a half a step to me last year. He lacked explosion almost every single game he played. Like I didn't see the same guy hitting the hole that I saw rookie year, 2nd year. He looked like, I don't know if it was injury, but he just didn't look the same to me. Did you see that too?
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
So I'm wondering if they're seeing that, and that's why they were like, let's bring him in for depth, but we'll replace him. Maybe.
But that's the thing. You're right. Is they know how to move on.
Yeah,
and
they do.
Fan favorites, right? Like they're like, nope. We see the writing on the wall. Now, Aaron Rodgers said that about his situation. He has just come off an injury, and then when he said, "I screwed it up. I screwed the plan up because I had back-to-back MVP seasons." But they're like, "Okay, we need to draft a quarterback here." Like, I don't think the plan was to do 3 years behind Rodgers. All of a sudden, Rodgers was lights out. I think they would have kept Aaron Jones and kept going that way. But because of the contract dispute, they moved on. So yeah. I'm okay with them moving on. And the AJ Dillon thing, I just really want him to pan out. I want him to be Derrick Henry. He's just not Derrick Henry, but I want him to be, right? And so I want him to be the bruiser. I want him to be Josh Jacobs back in the day of the Giants. I want him to steamroll people, but like he can't just get taken down, right, Jason? Like we watch him, 3 guys are dragging with him, right? Like it's like this. It's unbelievable. I love having him on my team, man.
An Earl Campbell type of guy. You know, he's running and he's, you know, they got the jersey and it's ripping and he's still going. You know, that type of guy.
And I mean, now the new rule where you can't grab on and drop. Now, how are they going to stop him? Literally, how are they going to stop AJ Dillon?
Actually, I think with the hip tackle, it's if they like jerk the hip. I think that's when they're going to call the penalty. You can still grab them by the legs and all that, but if they jerk them, if they think it's a hip hop tackle, that's when they're going to toss that flag for that 15-yard penalty and automatic first down.
Yeah. That's what I've wanted, especially when you see that the guy's name is Quadzilla. Those quads are so big. I just feel like AJ Dillon, I'm like, I keep waiting for him, and he shows flashes for the guy I thought he was going to be coming out of BC. And he showed a little bit of that the first couple of years. There was a few games we saw it. But last year, I was ready for them to let him go this offseason. I wouldn't have been remotely upset after last year. Now, before last year, I would have been. But the way he played last year, I was like, man. Like, I thought we were going to keep Aaron Jones between the two and let Dillon go. If you had asked me, we were going to one of the biggest shockers of free agency was that we got Josh Jacobs, guys. I'd heard the McKinney rumor. I wasn't like, I was ecstatic when we did it because we rarely spend money. But if you'd asked me, we're gonna go sign Josh Jacobs, we're gonna let Aaron Jones go and re-sign Dillon before free agency, I would have told you you're nuts. Like, I wouldn't have.
Right.
That was crazy.
I've made videos on that. I mean, like, we did what we never do.
It was,
the last time, like, that's the thing that we need to remind ourselves is when we go to get free agents, we hit on them. So it's like, it's Reggie White. Isn't it Charles Woodson was Julius Peppers? Like, that's we got to talk about that, right? So we're if you get difference makers, which I think McKinney is a difference maker. I hope he doesn't turn into Jamal Adams going to Seattle. I really hope that he just is balling out. But you're right. If you would have told me we're letting go Aaron Jones, and I had a couple days to kind of process that, and then you said, but we're going to get one of those stud running backs, and his name is Josh Jacobs, I would have been totally cool with that. The problem is we signed Josh Jacobs, then we let Aaron Jones go, and I'm like, that just like, are you kidding me right now? Like, everyone loves Aaron Jones, right? So that was the hardest. It was hard on our hearts, because we're loyal fans. We love our boys. They're great guys, and I don't know. I'm gonna miss it. And then of all things, you go into the Vikings. Come on, bro. Like, you could have gone somewhere else.
Anywhere
else. I get it. It's like, if you want to sip the bitterness, revenge thing, I'm just telling you, it's only hurting you. So you're young. Right. You need to learn it. But man, I just think that was a bad move. But I mean, congrats to Minnesota. You got a great running back.
And the Green Bay Packer way.
Yeah.
The Green Bay Packer way.
Exactly. Also, just the way, we got to talk about it for a second. The way it went down. We signed Jacobs. I'm like, oh my gosh, we have Josh Jacobs and Aaron Jones. Then Aaron Jones is cut. Then I was like, what? And then, like, I don't know how long it was later, like 40 minutes, an hour later, whatever it was. It's been a few weeks. We signed McKinney. I was like, okay, if that's what it takes to get Xavier McKinney, that we're going to flip Aaron Jones for Josh Jacobs, I can, that really helped bring that down a little, because I was ready to let go of Devondre Campbell, even though I liked him. He also took a step back last year. I think injury was a part of it. And I was obviously ready to let go of Bakhtiari. It stinks, but he'd been injured for 3 years now. But then to bring in a kicker to challenge Carlson, that was interesting.
Joseph.
And then when the NFL rules changed to bring back Nixon, I still think it's a little much, but Nixon was the kickoff return leader the last 2 years running now. So
Nixon's going to have a field day with that new kickoff rule.
I think so too. I really do. I think we're going to see it.
I think he's going to have multiple touchdowns just with that where it starts, where the kickoff line is and all that, and how close they are, like they are in the XFL. He's going to have a field day. He's still going to have a field day. But I touched on him with Josh Jacobs and McKinney. I don't know if you know this, but they know each other from high school. They played on the same team.
Really? Oh, that's going to be fun.
Yes. And they both said the reason why they came to Green Bay, one of the reasons was Jordan Love.
See,
So Jordan Love is already polling people over without even saying anything.
Opposite of Aaron Rodgers, who just brings his buddies along. And the Jets have been a really interesting team this offseason. We can talk them in a minute. But the fact that guys want to play with Jordan Love after 1 year, they saw the potential. I like that. And they were big time players.
It was a half a year, too.
Yeah. It was a half of good season.
Yeah, because every good quarterback struggles, you know. I mean, they're going to have rookie quarterbacks are going to struggle. Technically, he's really not a rookie because he's been in the league 4 years. But starting, he is a rookie. He was a rookie last year. So,
that's right.
Yeah.
No,
but that's the good thing to, those are good things to know and to give more confidence to. Like in Goot We Trust did a video called that. It's like, man, I don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to like drafting. I was mad when we did this and that. And all of a sudden I'm like, oh my gosh, he knows what he's talking about. So I'm gonna trust him. But what we don't talk about enough is like, yeah, we lost a character guy in Aaron Jones, but we received a character guy in Josh Jacobs. Max Crosby's really mad they let him go. Like Max is like, dude, you are the real deal.
Yeah.
And so I'm like sitting here going, man, it feels like we got an Aaron Jones kind of guy. Like, I don't know, character wise, are they similar? If they are, then it's like he's good for the locker room too. It's like, oh man, I don't know. The future's bright in Green Bay. That's why I keep telling people. I don't know. They never believe me. They keep saying we're going to regress.
No, I don't see. Well, we might have some lumps because we're so young still, but we had lumps last year. Sure. And the one thing I like about Jacobs is that he's more on the timeline age-wise with the rest of the roster. He's only 26, so he fits in with the rest of the guys, and they can grow together. What is McKinney? He's only 24. Like
26. No, 24. You're right. 24.
24. Yeah, elite 24.
Maybe 25.
24. Sorry.
Here's the thing: we got younger.
Yeah, we got
younger. Like we were the youngest team, and we got younger. Are you kidding me right now? This is exciting. And they're like, we got younger, and we probably got better.
Yep. I agree.
Honestly, I'm so happy I'm doing this. I started the show in September, and so I didn't get a full season of it. So I'm excited. I'm going to take a little break through the summer, but I'm excited. I'm going to get to enjoy this ride from the beginning of this season because, like, I'm not thinking Super Bowl yet, but I think if our defense improves, we're on a trajectory where we're going to be pretty scary. And I think there's a good chance that the Super Bowl participant next year is going to come from the NFC North. I think Detroit is the team to beat right now. But if San Fran has a Super Bowl hangover, who else is there? The Rams, maybe Philly. I don't see any other team in the NFC. No, Dallas just got gutted. So that leads my segue, but really quick, I've been really bad about it. We've been having fun. I'm going to hit a couple comments really quick. Chelsea, mac and cheese is the show I'm going on after this. So yes, now I said your name. And Janae's here as well, and Crispy. The Bills are going to have to address D in the offseason. Then I think they're going to hit that in the draft. Okay, I want to play a quick game, and then we can I want to ask you guys about Greg Joseph in a second. Where do you guys – we did the AFC. We'll just keep San Fran at the top for now. Who is the biggest challenger, 1 to like 3 teams? Who do you guys think right now, pre-draft, is the biggest challenger to the 49ers in the NFC? It's hard pre-draft, but I'm just curious what your thoughts are.
Detroit doesn't have very many draft picks, but even if they hit on a few of them, I still think they're there as well. So are we. We both gave them a 3-point game in the playoffs. So
right.
I'm sitting there going, Green Bay and Detroit are there.
Yep, I agree.
Philly.
That's where I'm at too.
Everyone's saying Philly's done, but like they still had 12 wins. Let me just.
They were
11-6. So they're 11-6, and they struggled. Now, granted, they don't have Kelsey there. They lost a bunch of pieces. It's really hard to write people off for me before the draft happens, but Philly's got to be up there. I like Seattle a lot, but the problem is I don't like Geno Smith. I think that was a bad move to keep him. I'm not a believer in him. I know he had the one good year. In fact, it makes me so angry that he got the Pro Bowl selection over Jordan Love. That is absolute garbage. I don't know if I'm ever going to get over that. in the way of like I'm just gonna go to my grave going, that was wrong. That was wrong. You guys did Jordan Love dirty on that thing. But Sam Howell actually is quite a good quarterback, and I wouldn't be surprised if they give him the reins. And with that offense, they always fight well. In fact, I'm going to the game this year in Seattle, Green Bay.
Really?
And
Nice.
so I'm going to be pumped to go there.
Especially that stadium. I always thought that one looked so cool. My brother lives up in Bellingham. I've never really said that online, but he lives up there, and I've been up through Seattle. But that stadium just looks awesome. That's going to be fun.
It is awesome. The crowd, the noise is amazing.
Thanks, man. He puts on a great show. I'm going to give him a quick shout out. Back It Up Binge Podcast. If you want something cool, short videos that are informational but fun on a variety of sports. He's a big card collector. Go check out his show. He's awesome. So is Mac and Cheese. I'm going to give them shout outs really quick. Dude, that's awesome. Last game I went to was the Rams-Packer game in November of 21. Rodgers, that MVP year when we lost to the 49ers. That was a fun game. Charles Woodson was inducted into our Hall of Fame that game. That was fun.
Oh, awesome.
That was pretty sweet. That was cool. What do you think of the Rams, though, Rev Trev? They lost Donald, but that offense looks stacked with Nakua. If Stafford can stay healthy,
I
Stafford.
Everyone's kind of like said, like especially fantasy wise, people are like sitting like, no, I'm not going. You start Stafford, you're nuts. But it's like, man, this guy is got every single talented player at his fingertips right now, and he's a fantastic quarterback. So the way he, the sidearms, he can do it all, right? But I think your point about Aaron Donald, that's the tough part. Like the guy, if you look at Aaron Donald's stats, it's insane. How does he put up that monster? I don't think it's next man up when it comes to Aaron Donald. I don't know what you're going to do there. Now, where do they draft? They draft 19.
The guy they had last year, the rookie, the other tackle. Now he's not going to replace Donald. He plays the other spot, but he was a beast. But they're still going to have to get another guy now, and then they're going to have to. And they lost. Not only did they lose Donald, but they lost Raheem Morris, who's now coaching for Atlanta. And I think that was part of the reason their defense was solid last year. If Kyron Williams can stay healthy, I like that offense. But I don't know. The NFC West outside of the Cardinals looks pretty legit. I don't see anybody in the NFC South, though. Do you think? I don't believe in Kirk Cousins. I just don't see it. Like coming off an ACL.
He's got more. Atlanta's got more weapons than Minnesota.
What?
Not really. No, he had Justin Jefferson.
Like in theory.
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now, I made a video last year about Kyle Pitts. Stay away from. I've been telling everyone to stay away from Kyle Pitts. I think he's an amazing talent. Don't get me wrong, but he was in the wrong system, wrong situation. Everyone's like, Bijan, you need to be taking Bijan. He was not what everyone had hoped.
No,
he is not. But I do think the Kirk Cousins factor changes it. And he makes Drake London good. He makes Kyle Pitts better. He makes I think the Atlanta offense is going to be sneaky good. That's my personal opinion.
I think they'll win that.
I agree with that.
I think they'll probably take Tampa Bay to win the division because I don't believe in the Saints. I'm sorry. Dennis Allen and Derek Carr are gonna have to prove me wrong because I just don't see it. I don't. They'll be around 500 team. They'll be like 7-10, 8-9 probably. Because they've still got some playmakers on D, and they somehow always have a receiver there. I don't know how, but he'll make their offense more competent if he recovers well from the ACL injury, which is significant coming up to age 36.
Good point.
So I think he will. The problem is they're going from. It's like Pittsburgh. They're going from complete garbage quarterback play to Kirk Cousins is like a massive step up. That's like the Gulf of the Ocean. Desmond Ridder was terrible last year. He won games at home, but the guy he didn't look like a starting quarterback in the NFL to me at all. Well, it was like Kenny Pickett. The guy I don't think he can cut it. I just don't see it. Like Justin Fields, I still think has more potential than either of those two guys. And I hope he gets his run in Pittsburgh. I like that you brought that up, Rev Trev. Because that was intriguing that they got Russ, and then they were like, "Hey, Russ, we're gonna go get Justin Fields now. Is that cool?" It was a little bit of hedge in there. It was like, we can land this other guy for the really cheap. Let's do it. It's interesting. It was interesting. Jason,
Yep.
who is your number one contender? One, two, like one of the, let's say 1, 2, or 3 teams.
Oh, well, actually, I agree everything that Red Trev said. About the Lions, the Packers, Seattle. I think the 2 teams, though. I'm not trying to be a homer, though, with one of them. I do think Green Bay, could have made it to the end, to the divisional round last year, to the conference game. It was that interception that, that Jordan threw to, Greenlaw, that, stopped us from getting there.
Greenlaw killed us. Both picks, too.
Yeah, Greenlaw was a stud in that game. But, Green Bay has all the potential in the world to get there again and to the NFC Championship game. I'm a believer in this team, this young offense, especially with, them having Stokes and Watkins going to get their hamstrings checked out in the University of Madison, and I think it's going to be a breakout year for Watson as long as that hamstring can stay healthy.
I hope so, man. I would love nothing more than Watson stay healthy, because I think the dude would. I think he would. It depends on if we spread the ball out, but I think he would make a significant impact. Do you guys believe in Stokes, though? Because I'm not sure. Like Watson, you can't argue the talent. I don't. Stokes, what's your guys' thoughts on that? Do you think he would start for us if he would stay healthy? Do you think he would be a legitimate starting second corner opposite Alexander? Or do you think they should draft somebody? Or Valentine?
Yeah, go ahead, Jason.
I think with Stokes, as long as he can stay healthy. I mean, his rookie year when he came in, he played. I think he kind of played lights out, and then he got hurt and couldn't get back on the field again. But if he can get back on that field, he can be legitimately, the other guy on the other side with Jair. But I think also that's another reason why that Green Bay is going to draft a corner or another safety or somebody like Cooper DeJean, who can play corner, who can play safety, But even Valentine, Valentine looked like a stud himself. You don't see that too many 7th round picks that look like that.
Right.
That's very rare and very hard to find. And it just seems like Green Bay finds these gems in late rounds.
Yeah. Some of the early ones, we hit the late ones, right? Like, what was Wicks? Was Wicks a 6th or 7th rounder last year? Wasn't he a 7th rounder?
5th.
He was a 5th.
That's still nuts.
And Walker was a 7th, right? Left tackle. I think Walker might have been a 7th.
It's wild, man. That's why I made that video in Goot We Trust. Like, just keep looking, just keep going back and just look at what he's done. It's like, how, and then part of it too is not only the drafting ability, it's the development that the team has. So we need to give them a lot of credit too. The Stokes question, though, is an interesting one. I don't know if I can answer it. The answer probably is no. That's probably what the answer is. Probably because he's not going to be able to recover from that from the injury. That's what I think is going to happen there. But I'm hoping, like Jason was saying, like just seeing what he was when he was early on. That's why they still have him around, because they're like, we believed in this guy. Like, even when we took him, I'm like, I was kind of surprised we took him, Granted, I can say that about every single player on our stinking team.
Right?
At one point, I mean, when we got Jordan Love, I was pretty mad. Like,
Jordan Love, I was like, what are they doing drafting this kid? I heard about his arm talent, and I was like, okay, that's a good thing when you hear about arm talent. But even Jordan Love, like most of the guys we draft, we're probably all going to be upset on April, whatever the draft 100%. Night is, 25th. April 26th. We're probably going to be upset about the pick, and then some of them are going to pan out because Goot is a pretty good GM. He had me mad this season early on when we were 3-6. I was a little angry, but yeah, I just looked, and Stokes only has played 12 games the last 2 years. So maybe I can give him a pass, but honestly, Valentine looked awesome last year. Like, I legitimately think the guy could play. Like, he was great. Valentine even had a few games when Stokes and Alexander were out. To me, we might have everyone thinks we need a corner, and yeah, that'd be great. I'd be good with it. It'd be almost like getting a receiver to me, though. And I haven't hit this on a video, like a small video yet, but I've talked on the show. I think we need to hit safety more and linebacker. And I think we need to go get a defensive tackle, because if we're moving to a 4-3, we have Slayton and we've got Kenny Clark on the line, and I'm curious what we're going to do at the other end spot. But if our run defense is going to improve, guys, we got to go get a legitimate inside linebacker and probably move Quaid outside, because Halfley even said that in his press conference. But we got to get somebody awesome in the middle. Like, I'm a big Sweat fan. I know he scored a low RAS score that Goot is huge on, but I like the guy. But there's some tackles in the first that might fall to us. So we're gonna segue into that in a minute. But I'm with you guys, man. I'm trying to not be over the moon about free agency and where we're at in this draft. But having 5 picks, Rev Trev, and I'm trying to save. I got about 30 minutes. So I'm trying to save some time for the draft for you, so we can hit some prospects and we can do it on another show too. I'd like to come on yours, but with having 5 in the top 100, I think we're in a golden spot here. And having 11 picks total, where Goot is awesome at finding guys in the 5th, 6th, 7th round that can go start. Like Devonta Wicks, the fact that Wicks was that late of a pick, and the guy, the more he played, he just looked like a stud. I think we're set up for success here. Okay, I got to ask the quick Greg Joseph question, then we'll get to the draft stuff. What'd y'all make of that signing?
I just think it's competition to Anders Carlson, honestly. I think Anders Carlson, he had a little bit of rough of a year, but he also was a rookie, and everybody just wants to kick him off the team. I mean, every Packer fan wants to kick him off the team. Why? Because we're used to Mason Crosby. That's why,
Yeah.
But, you have to start sometime, and move on from players. As Rev Trev said, Green Bay's not afraid to move on. And
Nope.
I honestly think that, my faith, I have faith in Carlson. He has a brother who's over there with the Raiders. He did play for the Bears. He didn't do too well, but look at him now with the Raiders. He's doing fantastic. So I mean, to all the Packer fans out there, just have faith in Carlson, and he's going to come around. I think he's going to be just like Mason Crosby. He's an accurate kicker, and so.
Yeah, here's the thing that we forget is Mason Crosby had a bad year, and most fans were calling for them to move on, and they stuck with him, and he just continued. Like, he had one blip year, and then all of a sudden he's been Mr. Consistency since then. So yeah, we're not used to having bad kickers, but you start talking to other teams and like, man, we can't hit a field goal to save our life. You got the double doinks. You got all these stories, right? So when Carlson missed that 41-yard field goal against the 49ers, I'm like, I have a feeling this is going to come back to bite us. And it did. It did, totally did. And I'm sitting there going, but they believe in this kid and his brother's plays here. And I'm like, I just don't want to give up on him too early, because I have this feeling that he's going to become a great kicker. So either he's just not, and they see him every day. So whatever they decide, it's probably better than my, eyeball test. But I'm thinking having Joseph there, maybe they're just sitting there. We need a veteran presence. We can't miss those, And if you talk to Vikings fans, they weren't overly thrilled about Joseph either. So I don't know. Like, is it an upgrade? Is it competition? Is it lateral? Is it the same? Like, I wouldn't be surprised if we stick with Carlson when the season starts. But because they can let go Joseph, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think he only signed a 1 year. I'm looking right
a
now.
1 year deal. Yeah.
It was a 1 year deal. I can't see how much. And Joseph last year was, dang, he didn't even play on a team last year. I've only got 2022 stats. 2023. No, he signed an extension. I'm not seeing anything. I looked it up earlier. He didn't hit that many of his kicks. He wasn't that great last year. What I was on Wiki. That was terrible. It's tough because Carlson was a rookie. I think they know how important kicker is for a contending team. It's unfortunately such a crucial position that you got to get it right. We just watched it massively influence that game, guys. Like missing that kick, unfortunately, the difference was McCaffrey scores that touchdown with 150 left or 155, whenever they scored. So just under 2 minutes. Unless the 49ers go for 2, that would have been a tie. And then we would have been driving to win instead of push it to overtime, most likely. So that changes the complete complexity of the game. And that was to go to the conference championship. So I think they know they've got to get this right. And I think Carlson will end up being our starter. I'm hoping this was just motivation because to me, Carlson still shows more potential. I just think it proved they're showing how important kicker is in the NFL because it's just vital. You've got to have a good kicker. If your guy is a liability, ironically, that was one of the positions the Cowboys actually got right last year. I live near Dallas. It's just too important. You've got to get it right. So I'm with you guys. This has been awesome. If you guys got time, I got a little bit longer. I want to do some NFL draft stuff.
Sure.
I don't know how many players we're going to get to. We only got a little over 20 minutes, but okay. Let's just start with positions, and then we can hit some players that I like and some stuff. Okay. In the first round, if they stay pat, I'm hearing rumors we might move up or move down. I keep hearing the Packers. Have you heard that to move up or down?
No.
It seems like it's blacks. I can't tell if it's smoke and it's theories. It's nothing like on ESPN or anything. It's a lot of YouTubers that I keep seeing. Let's say we stay pat, which is what I'm hoping we do. What position do y'all want to see us draft in the first?
Well, for me, I just feel like once we land on what we want, as Packers fans, we get angry, right? So we were, and I made a video last year about we are not drafting JSN. And I said, we're not drafting a wide receiver in the first round. We've never done that in the history of our team. I know we have, but I just wanted to. So when we didn't draft him, I'm like, I think we're going defense here. But we're not drafting JSN. We're going to get some wide receiver. I mean, some wide receiver. Are you kidding me? Who's better right now, JSN or Jaden Reed? Like, that's a real debate right now. So I want them to either go corner or safety. I wouldn't be mad if we went and got if a stud linebacker landed to us, then I'm cool with it. But I think there's going to be a lot of great. The reason why I love where we're picking, I know this is a really long answer, sorry, is because there are so many quarterbacks going to be taken. It's pushing all these quality players back up. And so we're in a smoking awesome spot. Like, even if we went O-line, it wouldn't be a bad thing. Depending who it was. Like Powers Johnson.
I got burned for Newton. I let fans vote on my 7.0. I took a tackle and I took I think it was Newton. Man, if we get Powers Johnson, I'm not going to be upset. If you watch this guy, he's freaking explosive. So sorry, I had to interject. I'll let Powers Johnson.
No, that's kind of, so I'm sorry. I don't feel like I'm landing here. What I'm saying is there's a lot of great options where we're at. And so I can see us moving back a little bit, getting some more draft capital. And then, but I don't know. I don't know, man. I'm pretty excited. I just think no matter who we get, the fans are going to be angry. Because I think I think all three of us are kind of like, if we got DeJean, we'd be like, yes. But that's what happens with us, is that we always do that. The thing is that him and Van Ness are from, buddies, and that would be fun. And I think he's a ball
Yeah.
hawk too. So him and McKinney, are you kidding me? That would be awesome.
If we got, I like DeJean. If we got McKinstry, I'd be so happy. That'd be awesome.
It's his
If
name
Johnny,
Kool-Aid.
Yeah,
if
nickname
Kool-Aid,
Kool-Aid.
if Johnny Newton's there at defensive tackle, or Byron Murphy, oh my gosh, man, I really like both of them. Only because I feel like we could use a defensive tackle. But if DeJean's there, oh yeah. Jason, you what position do you want to see in the first? We're gonna go to second after this.
Well, the first round, I think they're going defense. I think it's going to be at least a corner or a safety. I mean, they're going to go after their needs, and their needs is, another corner or another safety. You know, hopefully it's Cooper DeJean. Here we go, Packer fan, hoping it's Cooper DeJean. I mean, I watched some video. I watched Cooper DeJean, some videos on him, and every clip that they showed, he was picking off the ball, and I was like, wow, this guy's a ball hawk. But Kool-Aid wouldn't be bad either. I mean, that guy, he ran on with his foot being hurt at his pro day, and he was booking in that 40, so to me, I hope it's either a corner or a safety. So that's where I'm at with that.
Shock you guys. As much as I like DeJean and we need a safety, there are safeties in the second round and third round I like.
Yes.
While I love DeJean, if we go get Kool-Aid, guys, the more I watch him, I see Charles Woodson. I like this guy. I think he's special. I think they should take him. If they both are available and they take either, I'm not going to be upset. But the more tape I'm watching on Kool-Aid, he was hurt and ran a 4.47. But when you watch, the problem I have with 40s, as important as they are, like Audric Estime ran a 4.7. That is a little bit too slow for me. 4.7 at running back I've got to cut off at some point. And to me, he could still be effective, but I don't think he'll be like dynamite like Med has been telling me about Audric Estime. That's one of his sleepers. But Kool-Aid plays faster. Cooper plays faster. And I'm watching the instincts on tape, and there's other guys in the top of this draft if we got that fell. If a bunch of quarterbacks and Buffalo trades up for a receiver and the dream scenario happens that all these quarterbacks and receivers go, while I love a Brian Thomas Jr., if all these offensive guys go, Joe Alt, a bunch of these tackles go in the top 15, and like a Jared Verse or Dallas Turner fall to us, guys, oh my gosh, like that's going to be amazing. But the guy that I think is going to be available at 25 that I want the most, as much as I want DeJean, I really like Kool-Aid. It sucks because I think DeJean fits more of a need at safety, but I see Charles Woodson on tape. It's kind of starting to scare me. Watch his tackling ability as a corner. It's ridiculous. And DeJean's the same way. I think DeJean slots in at safety, but I really love both of them. Those are my top two guys for sure.
Yeah. And
I like both. Okay, we got 2 picks in the second round. You know what? I'm going to flip actually really quick. Is there any positions in the first you absolutely don't want them to go outside of quarterback? Because we know they're not going to do that. Is there anybody like, let's say Brock Bowers falls. Let's say Brian Thomas Jr. falls. There's no running backs that are projected in the first. But let's say one of those guys falls at receiver or tight end. Are you going to be upset if they did it? Which they never do. But something stupid happens. Would you guys be mad?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want us taking wide receiver at any stage, but I guess if it's like you can't pass up, then you got to do it. Like I don't, to be honest, I haven't done any scouting into wide receivers just because we're so stacked. So I wouldn't even know like who would fall to us, and all of a sudden we're like, wow, So
it depends. I'm a big Ladd McConkey fan. So I'm doing mock drafts for all the teams. Trev, just so you know.
Yeah, I saw those.
I'm on my 7th of the Packers. I've done, I don't know how many teams total. I think like 20 now total. I'm releasing a bunch this weekend. I'm going to hit all 32. So I really like Ladd McConkey. He reminds me of Deebo Samuel. But the guy that might be there, but we never do this, so I think it's kind of a silly question. I think the guy would have to be Brock Bowers at tight end. But we're stacked.
Oh, yeah. I would go get him in a heartbeat.
He's so good.
I mean,
in some of my mocks, and it's a mock, but he's there sometimes in like 1 out of every 5 or 6 that I do. So
But
I'm
then
like,
what do you do? What do you do if he lands there? What are you going to do with the boys? Are you going to have 3 of them? Are you going to trade Musgrave?
I feel like Brock Bowers could play some receiver and could flex, and we could have double tight end formations. I don't know. It's stupid because we've got Kraft and Musgrave. So I love our tight end room. We don't need a tight end. We don't need a receiver. I'm game if we don't draft anything at either of those positions. We could ignore quarterback, receiver, and tight end in this draft, and you're not going to hear a peep from me. You won't. But Bowers is special. Like, he should go top 10. He should. Like, if the guy falls past 10, the top 10 teams made a mistake. He needs to go top 10. He's that good. Every ranking I've seen, he should go top 10. So, like, if he 25 would be stupid. It'd be stupid.
Mm-hmm. So the second round, though,
like 5 or 6 quarterbacks go in the top 12 quarterback needy teams. What if we start seeing Bo Nix go, JJ McCarthy go in the top 5, and all these receivers, and Bowers just slips through the cracks and keeps falling? There's possibility for it.
Mm-hmm. See, if I'm the Minnesota Vikings, I'm not trading up to get JJ McCarthy. I think that he's going to fall to them at 11, and if he doesn't, I wouldn't even take a quarterback at 11 if I was them. I'd wait till 23 because you got Penix Jr. and Nixon or Nix. That's that, right? Nix, is that right?
Bo Nix, yeah.
Bo Nix, yeah. So, I mean, shouldn't you be happy with either one of those guys if you're a Vikings fan? I mean, what's the difference between them and JJ McCarthy? Like, honestly. So, but they won't do that because they're convinced that JJ McCarthy's the guy they want. They're going to try to trade up. If I was them, I'd try to trade up with either the Patriots and the Chargers, because the Chargers would be game to move back at this stage with all the holes that they have. But so if you take JJ at, like, say 5 or something like that, it's all gravy for us. It's all gravy for us. It makes us so much stronger, so much better. I'm really excited about that. Maybe the big question I have for you is, so in the second round, are we like, which one of these linebackers do you like? Edrin Cooper from Texas A&M, Peyton Wilson from NC State, or a lot of people are talking about Trotter from Clemson, but I hear a lot of good things about Colson from Michigan as well. Is there someone that's there that you're kind of like, that's one of the guys I want? Or is it like, we can wait for a Cedric Gray from the Tar Heels?
I like Cedric Gray, but I feel like he's in every mock I'm doing and all the stuff I'm reading. I feel like we could get him in the 3rd, maybe the 4th.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to include edge because I'm thinking like Dallas Turner and Braswell are more of edge, and Braswell will probably be there in the 2nd. I really like Cooper, dude. Like 4.5 speed. The more I watch him on tape, I think that if we want him, unfortunately, we pick at 41 and 58. I don't think he'll be there at 58. So if we want Cooper, I think we're going to have to take him at 41, which is going to suck because I think in reality what's going to happen, I think there's a really good chance T'Vondre Sweat and Cooper are going to be available at 41, and we're going to have to make a choice because I don't think either of those are going to be there at 58. So we're going to have to make a choice regardless what we do in the first, because there's no light unless the rankings change, because I've been looking on like tons of sites. Unless they change, I don't think a linebacker is going to go in the first. Like, unless you count Dallas Turner and those guys, I'm thinking they're edge. So just straight linebacker. I don't think any linebackers are going to go in the first round as it stands. Always something crazy happens. So Cooper could sneak up to 30. But Cooper's the guy that stands out to me. I like Wilson.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be upset if we take him. It's not the, like, Wade and Cooper are like right there for me. Like, I'm almost tied. I just have it's pretty much tied for me because I think Cooper can play safety in Kool-Aid's corner, and I think we have more of a need at safety. But I really like Edgar and Cooper, man. I think that we should take him at 41 because then we can move Quay Walker to outside linebacker, and at the other outside linebacker spot, we could either start Van Ness or Gary, and we can move Van Ness or Preston down to defensive end on the opposite side of Clark, and have a rotation. And that's what I think would be best for our roster. We've got to hit, like, as much as everybody wants secondary for us and we need a safety, if we don't beef up the defensive line and linebacker, we're in trouble. Well, not like significant, but our run D isn't going to improve unless we upgrade the talent, and we have to. So Edgerrin Cooper just almost squeaked under 4. He was 4.51. That's pretty good speed. He looks like he's got a high motor. He's got good lateral quickness. I like him for that. Another guy I actually like later on, he's a little bit slower, though, is Junior Carlson, because I watched more of him I did most of my scouting after the season, but the one team I watched the most of was Michigan, and he was a dog on that defense. The one thing I'll tell you, though, I like about Peyton Wilson, if we were to snag him later, is he's even faster. He's just got injury concerns, but 4.43 speed at linebacker is pretty special. Jeremiah Trotter projects third. I think we could get him at 91. So long story. I had to give because we only got about 10 minutes. I had hit my second and third. So my hope is that we get one of these linebackers. I'm hoping that we get Trotter. He'd be third for me. I'm hoping we either get Wilson or Colson. But if we go snag Cooper at 41 and we get Kool-Aid or an offensive tackle, or we get DeJean at 25, Rev, man, you'll see the videos, Jason. I'm going to be over the moon. The rest of the draft will be great, just gravy at that point. That's what I want. So I'm hoping, I like Trotter, but if we take him in the second, that's a reach. He's a third rounder. I hope we don't reach for him in the second. He shouldn't be going higher than 70. That'd be the highest I'd go for him, 75-ish. And we've got 88 and 91. So I think there's a 50-50 chance he's there at 88 for us if we don't snag him in the second. So Jason, I did talk way too long. Sorry. I had a lot to cover there. And we got about 15 minutes. So I want to hear your stuff. Is there any guys, what position do you want us to hit in the second? Do you want to hit linebacker? What do you want to hit?
Well, yeah, you can hit linebacker. I also think in the second round, they're probably going to grab a lineman. I think that Powers Johnson's probably going to drop to the second. Because the NFL, I heard that the NFL is not. The NFL, I heard that they're not really big on him. So he's kind of fallen down the ranks here. So I mean, Green Bay could even still land him without landing him at 25 and still get that defensive player at 25 and get him in the first of the two picks that they have in the second round. And then with the other number 2 pick, I think go linebacker, either Cooper or Trotter or somebody like that, But I also really do think that Green Bay is going to go after a veteran. They're going to make a trade. There's going to be some huge splash that Goody's doing. I have a feeling it's in the work that they're going to go after a veteran. I think they're still going to draft a linebacker, but they're also going to make a trade for one. I don't know who, but I just think that they're going to make a trade. I could be wrong, but.
Do you think there's any chance that we go try to sign Justin Simmons? He's still out there. He's a Pro Bowler sitting on the street. I've made a video specifically about this. Do you think there's any chance we go sign him for a 1-year, $10 million deal with incentives? Do you guys think there's any chance? He's still sitting there. I'm like, unless I missed it in the last hour, he isn't signed anywhere. I'm a little flabbergasted as to why, too. He was just a Pro Bowler. He's only 30. He's a free safety. That's exactly not just us, but any team. I don't understand why. Is it just safety so devalued? I don't understand. He's only 30. It's not like he's completely. I don't get it. Is he someone that you would want, Rev Trev?
Yeah, I'm not sure, man. I'm not sure because that's a tough one. I think once you get to that 58, it starts the picks, the ranking system is going to be all over the map, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Because we go, once you get to that stage, it's people are going by need. They're going by sometimes they're going by best player available, but they're still saying we need this position. I feel like the first round picks can be like this guy. Like you can't get rid of Parsons. Like Michael Parsons, I wanted him so bad in Green Bay, and it's like we're never gonna
Yeah,
get him, right? We're never gonna get him. But I'm
I
like,
was
if
like-
we could have traded up and gotten him, someone like that. But those guys aren't dropping to us, so we're gonna be getting those spots there. So I don't know. This is where I'm having a hard time between that 58 pick and the 88 and 91. It's like, who's going to be there that's going to be a gem for us? There's going to be a couple guys that are like, I love it that we have 88 and 91. That's so exciting for me because I'm like, there's going to be 2 guys or 3 guys that we want there, and we're going to get both of them. Like I'm pumped about that. And so I'm trying to learn a little bit more, to be honest. And just like kind of sit back. I wouldn't say that I'm a draft expert at this stage. I'm like, feel like I'm like swimming behind everyone, but I'm catching everyone. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna get to the same place where everyone is, but not that I'm gonna advance past people like you who've taken a lot of time. But I'm just saying, like, there's certain guys you're watching them, you're like, we need a guy like him.
There's some linemen I really like later on that I think we could land too. That's
like
if we don't first, like I'm a big Bo Limmer guy. We could go snag him. I like him. If you watch tape on him, go watch. I'll give you a few players I like. Okay, at running back, this is an easy one. I'll give you a sleeper that I like too. But I would love if we, as much as I like Trey Benson, if we go look at Braylon Allen or Jonathan Brooks, and those are 2 big names that I like. But man, I'm sorry. It's been a long week. I'm trying to remember the running back. He's a 7th rounder
from Michigan. Corum.
I'll get his name.
Blake.
Well, Blake Corum. Honestly, I actually like him. Like if we took him in the 3rd, man, I'm not. If he's there, the only thing is, as much as I want a running back, I'm big on them. I think they're very important in the NFL. They're underrated. We just spent draft capital on Josh Jacobs, but we kind of hit this earlier. If we draft one to replace Dylan as our number 2 and to take a little bit of the load off of Josh Jacobs, I think that's going to benefit our offense, in my opinion. Unless Dylan breaks this cycle. That's where I'm at with Dylan. So I really like Braylon Allen, guys. If we landed him in this draft and we landed one of those linebackers I gave you and a secondary dude, it's gravy, because I think we'll hit on offensive lineman or defensive lineman. I just would love to get an impact guy on the at linebacker or defensive line, because I think our defense is lacking it so much right now. We've got Kenny Clark. Slayton was solid last year, but there is some defensive tackles. Go watch Newton tape on him. I really like that guy. But at running back, Braylon Allen, I like Ray Davis later on, and there's a guy in the 7th that his name is eluding me, and if I can't get it by the end of the show, I'll message it to you. But I really like Braylon Allen and Jonathan Brooks, and Blake Corum would be my 3rd high prospect. I'd go at running back. I know you're not looking at receivers. I could give you a few of those too, but on the line, Frazier's pretty good. I think we could land him, and there's a couple tackles that we could get, but I think we need an interior lineman at center, because Myers' deal he's at the end of his deal, and right guard we just let go of Runyon, so we've got a hole there, and I think we need to land that starter in this draft, because that's there's only 2 really big holes on our roster: right guard and free safety right now, and we need to hit both of those in this draft. So,
I heard Johnson could play.
I
heard Powers Johnson could play guard too. I heard not only just center, but guard too.
Can you tell me, why did Powers Johnson's stock fall? Like, what happened in the last 48 hours? Because on the mock stuff I'm looking at and online, he dropped like 15 spots. He's like in the 30s. I'm like, what happened? Did he have a pro day that was bad? Did I miss it? What happened? His stock just went. He went from a first to a second.
I just kept hearing that his stock is just keeps falling. That's all I know about it.
If we can land him in the 2nd round, man, how excited are we going to be?
What are the running backs? It's sorry, go ahead.
I mean, there's
41.
How about
41? If he's there, 41, we got it.
Would you like to get
We gotta
Estime
do it,
from
Mike.
Notre Dame?
Like we have to. Okay, I've got a couple of the running backs. 4.71 is just too slow, isn't it? Like, I'm not trying to just be a guy about 40 times. I like the tape, but 4.71, like, that is a little bit slow at running back for me. Med's a big estimate guy. I'm not going to be super upset, but I've got 4 or 5 running backs I like better. Marshawn Lloyd looks solid. My dad's a big Bucky Irving guy. He was 4.55. But my dad's big on Bucky Irving. I personally like Braylon Allen Brooks, and I like Guerrero, and I've heard some rumors about him for us. And he's explosive. He's got 4.33 speed, good size. He's 6 feet, 220. He could be intriguing too. There's a couple sleepers I like late in the draft. I like Ray Davis. I'm trying to get the 7th rounder's name I keep picking up in my mock drafts. But
there's Jonathan Alley.
The funny thing is
McClellan
from Alabama. That's one of the guys. And
I'm actually big on Braylon Allen. I think the
name
Packers brought him in. Braylon Allen. I'm big on Braylon Allen.
I like him.
The Packers like big backs. The Packers like big backs,
him,
and I just think I think they are going to target Allen. I mean, because he's a big back, and only that he's young. I think he's only like 19, 20.
Yeah.
I got you on that. Hold on. Braylon Allen is, I think he's only like 20. He might be 21 this year. He's super young. Yeah. Braylon Allen, though, man, he's 6'1", 235, and he ran a 4.4 flat. That's ridiculous. That's stupid. When you get that size and that speed, man, that's just – when you watch the tape on him, too, I'm like, I really like this kid. Yeah, he's actually only 20. He'll be 20. He was born in January. He won't even be 21 until we make the playoffs. So he's only 20 years old. So that's even better for us because that's the one thing everybody looks at with running backs is age. Some of these guys come out at 23 years old and you're like, you're too old. So we've got a few more minutes. I want to keep going. I don't want to wrap this. I'm having a blast. This has been fun, guys. Okay. Let's do we're going to have to do this again before the draft. Maybe we just all come back on. That'd be fun. We could just do a draft special. That would be great.
That's why I'm bringing you on, man. I'm bringing you on. I've got all planned out.
All right, cool. So let me know a date. I'm ready. Jason, that's going to be fun. Okay, give me positions that you absolutely want the Packers to hit. For me, I'll start. I want offensive line. I do want a guard. I'd like, honestly, 3 linemen total on the offense. It could be 2 interior and 1 tackle. I do want to get a tackle at some point for depth, and if Walker doesn't pan. I want 2 or 3 offensive linemen. And I'm going to be honest, guys, if we don't get an edge in this draft, Gary was great, but I think we could beef up that pass rush. I think we need a defensive tackle and an edge. And I'm going to be honest, I know everybody's big on McDuffie, but I could see us drafting a linebacker early like we talked about to start, Ref Trav. So let's get a linebacker. And the positions that we absolutely have to hit are right guard and free safety. So I'm expecting probably 2 safeties to be drafted in a corner. So, Jason, what do you want to see? What positions? Not players.
Well, I want to see free safety. I do want to see an offensive lineman, but I think they're going to get him either in the 2nd round and then pick another one in the later rounds because, they're good at picking them in the later rounds as well and develop, So I also think that linebacker is huge. Like I was stating, they need a linebacker. Those two, the corner and safety and linebacker are pretty huge for me. I think they really need to touch on that. They do need to touch on the offensive line. They do need depth. So that's pretty much where I'm at with that.
Yeah, but which safeties, guys? Talk to me here. Because this is where I'm like, there's so many good ones later on that I want to know. Like, are you hoping for someone like Bishop or Bullock or Hicks?
The guy from Oregon State. what's his name again?
Oladapo.
Yes, thanks.
Oladapo.
He's been
Oladapo.
coming.
We talked
Yeah,
about him
he's
last night.
been.
I remember.
Yeah,
Oladapo. I know that's who you're
he's
talking about.
yeah, he's coming up in the coming up here late. With the talking about him. He seems. I've seen a couple footages on him, and he looks pretty decent. He looks like he's a ball hawk himself.
Yeah, I find that really
I
interesting.
know
And
everyone's
then the
down on
edge,
Cameron
like
Kitchens, but I like him. You're good. Good. Sorry,
so
good.
the
You're
edge
good.
that you like, Isaac.
Really quick, I just wanted safety really fast. I like Kitchens. The problem is I keep hearing about RAS score, relative athletic score. I liked Kitchens, and I'm still okay with Newbin. I don't love 4.6 speed, but when I watch tape on those guys, I like them. I'm thinking of DeJean as the top safety, but I really like Bullard and Newbin and Kitchens. If we got any one of those four guys, there's not a lot separating any of those three for me. I think Newbin's my top still, and he's fallen for some people because he didn't have the best pro day, but I like Newbin. I would love to get him. 4.6 at free safety is a little slow, but he's got a good build. 6'1", 200. I liked him. Bullard's a lot faster, but he's a little undersized. He's only 5'10", 198, which means he might come on at like 190. That's a little small. Kitchens is a little bit stockier, he's slower, but he's about 5 to 10 pounds heavier, and he's 5'11", and he's just looks athletic. Kitchens is actually probably, after DeJean, still my top safety. I don't love 4.65 speed, but you got to watch game tape on these guys and watch how they translate. And to me, like Kool-Aid was 4.47 with a broken bone in his foot. That's stupid. I wonder how fast he'd actually be. But he looked faster than that on tape. So I still like Kitchens. He's my top guy. And then Newbin and then Bullard after DeJean. I'm still thinking of DeJean as a safety, even though he's a corner. Edge rushers, my God. It's hard. Like, the problem I have is that the top few, like I got Dallas Turner in one of my mocks and Jared Verse in another. And I don't know if either of you watched tape on those guys, but my God, those two look so stupid good to me. Like, I really like them. Chop Robinson is a guy that I actually think we have a chance of getting. Rev, Trev, and Jason. I think Chop Robinson could be there for us in the second. I don't know if you guys have seen him in any of the mocks. I think there's a possibility he falls there. And Darius Robinson, I got burned for it because he's really slow. He moved from the interior to the edge and he ran a 4.95, which is stupid slow. But I was thinking maybe he would be a defensive tackle for us. He's bigger. The problem is he's 6'5", 285. So I was thinking of Robinson, even though people list him as an edge. I was thinking we draft him and slide him inside. But yeah, 4.95 is slow. Chop Robinson's one of my sleepers, though, after Latu and Verse and Dallas Turner. So, long story. I've got a lot of guys.
What about Isaac from Penn State or the Oregon rusher, the edge rusher? Is it Dorless? Is it?
Dorless. I like him too. Isaac would be good. He came in slower than I wanted. He's a little undersized. He's 6'4". He's a little under 250, and he ran a low 4.7, and I was like, or mid 4.7. And it sucks because I'm not just trying to like just force 40 speed. I liked him though. I actually think Isaac could be. He kind of looks like a Packer to me. Like I feel like I watched some certain guys like Kool-Aid and Cooper just speak Packer to me. I actually have a really funny feeling the Packers are going to go draft Isaac, not because that's my name. I think that they're going to draft Isaac. I actually think I'm going to predict it now. I think he's going to be a guy we get in this draft. I really think so. I'm just telling you. There's guys I want them to pick, and there's guys I think they're going to take. And I think Isaac's somebody that we're actually going to draft. I really do. I don't know what happened. Our views went up once I said Isaac. That was funny. Correct. I'm hoping. I'm going to be honest though. edge rusher is a position I'd really like us to hit before the 4th. There's some guys out there that I think we could land. So there's a lot of positions I want us to get. So it's tough. But I like Adisa Isaac late in the draft. I'm trying to think of my sleepers after the big guys, because unfortunately, unless we get lucky, Jared Verse is probably going to be gone. Chop Robinson will be there for us. Isaac will be there in the 2nd or 3rd. Braylon Trice is intriguing, but I'm not huge on him. And unfortunately, he came slower than I wanted, but I still like Ruka Ororo. I can't say his last name. Ororo from is it from Georgia? He came in, he's almost 300 pounds. He just came in a little slow, but he was a guy I like at defensive tackle later on. In that 2nd round, though, I'm going to give you a few names. I like Tavondra Sweat, and I really like Chris Jenkins. And people kept telling me about Braden Fisk, and I watched his tape, and I like what I see, but I wasn't enamored. I was more of a Sweat and Jenkins fan in that 2nd round. If we were to go interior defensive linemen, they'll both be there in the 2nd at either 41 or 58 for us. So there's a large scouting report. Sorry, I have a lot of guys. Good. We're gonna do. You know what? This one was meant to be free agency.
Yeah, you're going to be very happy in the draft because you like everybody. Actually,
I'm trying to think of positions I want us to take.
You don't like everyone. You have a good feel on a lot of guys. So I think you're going to be probably one of the few Packers fans that's really actually happy about what we actually draft, because you're like, I like this guy or this guy. It's not like you're zoning in on one guy. And I think that's going to be bode well.
I'm trying not to.
Yeah.
Well, I've done that in the past when I did a little bit less scouting, because now that I'm in podcasting and I'm loving these mock drafts, I've kind of dived into it. And I'm trying not to just zone in on one dude, because if I do that, we don't draft him, I'm going to be let down. So just like in fantasy, I'm trying to not. And Jason, we got to ask him about that in a minute, but we got about 5 minutes and we got to wrap, unfortunately. But I'm trying to not zone on one guy, Rev, because if we don't draft him, I don't want to be upset. You know what I mean? Like, I'm okay if we take a tackle. I'd rather not, but there are tackles I'm okay with us taking. But to be completely honest, after all my scouting, between the top tackles that past Joe Alt, we're not getting Joe Alt. But I'm a big Power Shanson guy.
No.
Like, that is the interior lineman I want us to get if we take one in the first 2 rounds. If Power Shanson's there at 41, take him at 41. I'm not going to be that ticked if we take him at 25 either. I like him better than the tackle. So, like, I've got tiers. I like certain things about every player, but I'm trying to not hone in on just one dude, because if we don't get him, then I'm devastated. I want DeJean, but I also like Kool-Aid. Nate Wiggins is a stud. I'm okay with it. So I have layers to it, but yeah. The one thing I can tell you, if they take a running back in the first round, though, I'll be ticked off.
Or
we got to wrap. So unfortunately, I've got a show to go to. So what we're going to do really quick is we're going to do this again. And Jason, since you made it through the show, now I'm going to say how many people are on. It climbed from 20 up to 170 people are watching you right now. And
Pretty
you
cool.
did great, dude. You did awesome.
Well,
thank you
before
to
we
all the
go,
people watching. Jason, I'm going to let you have closing thoughts. Chelsea, we're going to wrap in just a second. Rev, I'm going to let you have closing thoughts, and then I'll close, okay? Jason, any last thoughts on the draft or anything at all that you want to say? Floor is yours.
As far as the draft goes, you guys both pointed out, we all want what we want as Packer fans, and if they don't get the guy, we're all going to be disappointed, But whoever the Packers going to get, we're going to eventually end up falling in love with them anyway. So, and then far as, if they dip into free agency again, I mean, that's something that's going to be up to the Packers if they do that. If they dip in to get a safety, maybe in the free agency again, maybe a Justin Simmons that I know you've been wanting to talk about. So, I mean, or even trading for that linebacker that I was talking about, I mean, that's pretty much, all I got. But before we get off, I want to show you guys what I have sent you guys on camera, okay? So if you
Yeah,
just
man.
give me a second,
I love all the Packer stuff in the background.
Oh,
too.
he's got awesome stuff.
It's a legit. I got nothing.
Yeah, your behind the scenes game is lacking compared to us here, brother. You need to paint the wall green or something.
Yeah, it's not
there you
green.
go.
You need the ceiling. I'm just kidding. It's
Well,
great. Dude.
here's the JP helmet that I sent you guys on camera. Okay.
Oh
So nice.
yeah, man. Heck yeah. That's awesome. That's legit. Too.
There's his autograph, and then I can show you. I'll show you my other helmet here.
Nice.
See, I like that one because that's pretty sweet. I like that it's
this is called a flash helmet.
I like the other one better because the cage. I like the cage on the other one.
Actually, this is the actual face mask that he wore.
So
See,
nice.
That's even more authentic. That's awesome, man. That's so legit.
And it's authentic. It is authentic. See, sorry, let me get it angled.
For you. On your wall behind, any personal favorites? I can see so many things I'm just absolutely digging.
The one right over my name, that Jimmy Taylor picture, right there with the pads above it. That's my favorite because it's like 1 out of 10, or they only make 10 of those. So I mean, and I have one. It was my dad's, but he gave it to me. So I've had it for years. So that's my favorite.
That's legit, dude. Jason, I like your setup too, man. You've got more Packer. The only Packer thing I've got on is this shirt. My daughter's participation trophies are right there. I live with family, so I'm not allowed a Packer wall right now, unfortunately. I have a cheese head. I'm gonna have to get it out for this season.
Oh, do you want one?
I got one too.
You have to wear an honor for me. My co-host that's on a cruise right now, my normal co-host, not Med, wears one on some of our shows, so it's pretty sweet. I do have some stuff in the stadium when I went that I could wear next time, so I'll do it. Rev, any closing thoughts? Why don't you let people know where to find your show? I should have done that at the beginning. I was waiting for the other guy. I apologize. I messed up at the beginning. Tell everybody where to find your show, and the floor is yours.
Yeah, so you can find me everywhere on RevTrev NFL. On TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, and something else really important, X. So please check it out. I do all kinds of stuff. I've got a lot planned coming up. In fact, I really like conversations, so that's where Jason and I have done a really great job of connecting. I think Jason and we send each other a lot of stuff, so we have a lot of fun together. But it's been a blast to be on here. Thank you so much for having me. And I actually got to meet Jason face to face for the first time here. So my privilege of having you. And my plan is to have both of you guys on my show at different times. So I know Jason and I have already been talking, but Isaac, I'd love to have you back and talk a little bit more about the draft.
Yeah, if you don't know if you normally do Mondays, I actually have this Monday off. If you're free, that would actually work. I don't know when you're going to.
Well, the 3-hour time zone kills me, right? So I'm on the West, so I'm basically going right through dinner to do this. So yeah, so.
No, I know my family in Arizona now is 2 hours behind, and Med is an hour ahead in South Carolina. So sometimes when we start, we've got some people on the West Coast occasionally as guests, and it kills that time zone thing. And I'm a teacher, and they're talking about starting earlier next year, and we double duty. I have a second show, so I do fun football, and then I do Blitz. And Tuesday nights we do them, and sometimes we don't start Blitz till 9:00 Eastern, which is 8. But we've had 2+ hour shows. We're going past 10, but 11 his time, and I'm like crashing. So yeah, whenever you do your show, man, I'm absolutely game. I had a blast.
Absolutely.
I am obviously fun football. Bill is on a cruise, and hopefully you're watching somewhere in the Caribbean, dude. I don't know where you're at right now, Cosmo or wherever. But guys, I had a blast. Talking Packers is my favorite, and this offseason has been exciting. So I've had an absolute blast. I'll be doing even more mock drafts over the weekend. I'll have a mock draft every day on my YouTube until the draft. I did a 7.0 Packers. I'll probably have 3 or 4 more, to be honest with you. I'm going to hit at least 10, but I'm going to have all 32 teams out. I did a couple of YouTube shorts today. You can see me on YouTube. I'm really close to 250. Fun Football Pod. I'm on Ohana Packers Network now. Shady Sports, thank you for putting this up. And Podcast Boys, thank you guys. But you can find me on Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, X, technically Instagram. I don't really use it, but thank you to both of you for an awesome show. I had a blast. We're going to be talking more draft. I think we should I am going to have a Fun Football draft special. I have a Packer guy coming on in a few days. So I don't know how many people he wants to have on at the same time, but I might be talking to both of you about coming back with him. I think that'd be cool to have a just Packer special and talk just Packer prospects. But I also want to say thanks. I think this is a large part to Rev Trev because I know you got a big following, but thank you to the over 220 people watching. That's my record. So I appreciate it. And last thing really quick. That's sweet. That's really cool. Live too. That's awesome. I've never hit over 200 before live, so that's pretty sweet. We're going to do this after the draft, Rev, Trev, and Jason. But I did a game-by-game prediction. And initially, I think Rev Trev saw my over-under. I had us at 10-7. And then on my episode a week ago today, I went through the opponents, and we're out of time, so we'll do it soon. But I'm preparing you all for the next time you guys come on Fun Football. I ran through all the games, and I had us at – it was stupid. But our schedule is actually not that difficult. I had us 14-3.
Ooh.
And I know that's lofty. I know. It's.
I mean, I hope you're right. Don't get me wrong.
I watched that episode.
I hope I'm right. But yeah, I had a blast having you both on. Go check out Rev Trev's show. He puts on an awesome show. And Jason, me and him talk a lot too. Thank you for coming on, dude. That was awesome.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's good seeing you, Rev Trev, for the first time, face to face. It was a pleasure. So I thank you for the invite.
Yep. Let us know when you want us on, Rev Trev. And thank you all the people for watching. It means a lot. It helps. If 2 people watch, it'd be a little discouraging. So thank you to the over 220. Billy's here. Thank you. I'm going to give some shout outs really quick.
Oh, Billy's awesome, man. He's my pal.
That's your pal?
Oh, he is. I've been trying to get him on my show for so long now. He's been on my show. We're good buddies. He knows his stuff. So I can't wait to have I call his actual name is B-Pack from back in the day. Billy Packer, right? He is awesome. So you'd love him.
Well, we should get him on we should get him on your show and then I should get him on here. That'd be great.
Mm-hmm.
Cheeseheads Weekly is actually the guy pretty soon in the next few days. He puts on a awesome show. He wanted to do a draft special, and that's actually who I had in mind. Go check him out on Twitter and YouTube. And I think on Facebook as well. But go check out his YouTube. He does a lot of draft stuff. And actually, that's who I had in mind for my draft special. So maybe when we do the draft special, we do the same panel and add Cheesehead Weekly. So that'd be really cool. And Mac and Cheese is the show I'm going on now. Otherwise, we'd keep going. But I'm going to drop off here and go on Mac and Cheese. Go check them out. We're going to be live we're going to do a mock draft. We're going to be live on Twitter and Facebook. I don't think on YouTube. So we'll be live on both of those. So go check us out. Thank you for everybody for watching. Again, go check out Back at Binge and go check out Chris B on the Web Media Entertainment Man. And thank you to my student again for watching. I doubt she's still here, but thank you for watching. Rev, thank you, dude. Jason, thank you. We're going to do this soon. This is Fun Football Podcast, and I will see you all again soon.